Also, we'll do a bit recap what we learned during our previous unit, which is supposed to be finished by today.
Yeah.
So, all about anything you remember, whatever we learned under this unit, which was service marketing.
We learnt about the 4 marketing P's,
Hmm?
which product, price, place, promotion, and
Good,
then we learnt the 7 P's, which added people, process, and physical evidence.
great, it's well done.
We then a question on that. In our outcomes, it says that we have to explain the 9 P's. When I googled it, every time I Google it, it shows me 2 different P's that equal to the 9. Are we meant to talk about 7 P's or 9 P's?
Technically, the 7 P's, they put it
Yeah.
to like, the processes, procedures, policies within our organization. So when we add them, these all, it's, they consider as a 9. So what I'll do, I'll
Okay.
send you one separate document to read, that's the combination of these. They're saying, you can say 9 P's, but normally it's
Okay.
a
Yeah.
7. Original concept was 4 P, then 7 P's. Then, the
Yeah.
other author saying, no, combine them and you can say 9 P's.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Okay, well done. Next, we learn behaviors as well, consumer behaviors.
Yes. And then about the 80-20% rule. The 4 unique characteristics of service as well.
Brilliant. Yes, we learn about Maslow theory as well,
Yeah.
which is needs. So to address, the consumer behaviors. Yes, that's all we supposed to cover under this unit. When we'll go through the learning outcome, we almost met everything and we address everything. So if now, if the little things are you think, some point need to be more in detail, maybe you don't have a lot of background reading stuff. What I'll do, I'll make sure, because I have a half-term week to send
Yeah.
you some extra stuff to read.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that'd be really useful.
Because at least, you have a different sort of books, different journal article. So when you start your writing your assignment, at least, you can reference enough.
Yes.
You have a
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely.
So what I'll
Excellent.
do,
That'd be
I'll
really
make sure, I'm going to prepare some revision cards, flashcards as well, so you can print from your end as well. So onward, each unit you will get the mind map. You will get
yeah,
a flashcard. I'm
yeah.
preparing now. I'm just going to change, I'm improving my things. It's supposed to be lesson,
Okay.
slightly, and will each lesson we'll supposed to we'll pick something, some organization, and we'll try to do a bit research.
Okay.
So
That
at least,
sounds good.
if everything online really is a matter of just going and preparing a little PowerPoint, just copy and paste it, and you can say, yes, this is all about where we can improve our presentation skill as well as we'll do, research.
Perfect.
Okay, so these all we learn during our lesson, rule 80-20 Pareto. We learn about various customer service histories and
Yeah.
different models, all we covered. So today we thinking to be start our new unit.
Okay.
So our new unit will be the unit first, which is a
Yeah.
tourism and hospitality business management, the title of the unit.
Okay. Perfect.
So tourism and hospitality, what's come in your mind? What's come on tourism and hospitality? Which
Um.
industry normally falls under this
So
tour?
tourism could be things like travel, like airline, train line, buses. It could be stuff like travel agents traveling to different countries. Hospitality is more like hotels and restaurants, kind of creating that kind of service. And things like museums and stuff come under tourist attractions as well.
Brilliant. Yes. it's such a big industry. So even the
Yeah.
nursing and service, um, hospital, the services and NHS, it's come under the sort of, the service industry. So
Okay.
travel and hospitality is quite big, yes. Even some people,
Yeah.
include travel and tourism and hospitality in the service industry. So it's so many things, we can include, and it's quite big, massive industry. So
Yeah.
business, so we are going to learn under this unit is very basic stuff which we'll already learn a lot within other units as well, like within a marketing, within a service marketing, and within even like a few elements we already learn under the finance as well. So under this unit.
Okay.
So what is a business? What can we define business? Any definition of business?
Um, is a business like a something that creates a service or provides a service to customers?
Hmm.
And it could be non-profit or profit organisations, but they're there to create a specific service to a client or a customer.
Brilliant. Well done. Service normally we consider any legal activity which have a objective to achieve behind. Yes. So business
Yeah.
could be a profitable or non-profitable organization. Is a legal activity. So within a law,
Okay.
which is a law, so we can call it a business activity. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is and we have end goals and objective. We want to achieve something out of it. Okay. The management. What is the management then?
Management is they're responsible for the day-to-day management of the business, making sure the service is produced correctly, finances are in order, stock levels are good, their employees are getting the right kind of training to provide the service to the customers. They're basically there for the day-to-day task to keep the business going and keeping it successful.
Good. Well done. So, yes, day-to-day management is a process. Normally, we design an environment to achieve our objective. So, as a manager's job to create a surplus in a business management, so we design an environment, our activity runs smooth, and we will achieve our objective.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's in management we normally say 2 plus 2 makes 5, not 4. So a lot of in real world people sometimes say how I can make 5. In maths we learn 2 plus 2 makes 4, not 5.
Yeah.
But the management job to putting less input and create more output. Yes, more
Okay.
productivity. So when we work a team, it's called synergies. We work each together, yes, as a team and sharing ideas and knowledge. Ultimately, we learn more.
Yeah.
So that's why we say we always in the management a lot of authors in management wrote management managers can make 2 plus 2 5 instead of 4. They can give extra output, good managers. Their setup time they can reduce, they can look around, customer service. So managers can make huge difference within our organization.
Yeah.
So this unit is all about travel and hospitality business management. Within
Yeah.
travel and hospitality, how we'll manage our business. So our
Mhm.
first learning outcome is all about is understand the nature, role of public sector organization in tourism and hospitality industry. Public
Yeah.
sector.
Yeah.
What is meant by public sector then?
Um, they're providing a service to the public. So it could be National Rail, for example. They're creating a service to the public. And is public sector where you can't have external stakeholders? So it's a bit like government owned.
Brilliant. Yes, that's a government owned. That's a public sector organization, not a private sector.
Yeah.
So it's a huge role public sector organizations. They
Yeah.
can manage basically the public sector organization. They set the code of practice for the private organization. So like
Uh huh.
travel and tourism watchdog. regulators can regulate, so give them guidance, provide them. So public sector play a significant role to
Yes.
set the standards within hospitality industry. So we can say SOPs, which is standard operating procedures set by the public sector organizations. And a public organization describe the characteristic which we'll go through and the common challenges faced in a public sector. Yes, there are a number of challenges faced, especially security issues within hospitality industry, how we can
Yes.
tackle it, free movement of people, how we'll make sure, everything is smooth.
Yes.
Currency exchange rates, and especially organization make the promise, but they're not delivering it. How the public organization as a regulator will make sure, whatever they promise, they should deliver. Yes. So these
Yes.
sort of, there are number of other issues like, checking identities of the people, those are staying in a hotel, where they came from, what their purpose behind, all sort of things, really we need to look around these. It's a lot of challenges nowadays, by looking the world, whatever is ever happening. So all we need to be
Sure.
focused in. So today lesson is I'm going through very basic today discussion, and next
Okay.
lesson we'll do some cases, all these. So let's okay. So today I pick few slides which we'll go through. So okay. So we'll go through relationship between tourism planning and development, how role of public and private sectors in a travel and tourism industries, and project, how and different steps those we can take to be make our project, and the role of government as a public sector organization can play a significant, and private sector financing, that could be a
Yes.
quite, if those are all happening, then of course that will be help, so when we are looking the relationship between tourism planning and tourism development is like, because when we look in the business management, so
Yes.
it's mean the planning is quite crucial, we're looking the development side of it. So tourism planning is a process is designed to produce goal, strategies and objective for destination areas, yes, because the local businesses, how these will impact on the local cultures and things as well. So we need to be planned as well. So
Yeah.
uh, a tourism development plan provides the overall the guidance for the development, and outline the broad development concept, identify the individual development opportunities as well, which will go through the role of the government and the private sector in role of the private sector is a center involvement in private sector is playing no like a labor government is a manifesto, no take out as a public ownership instead of, but there is still we need a public and private partnership. So
Okay. Yes.
if there is a no public and private partnership, like recently the collapse of the Korean company, so a lot of the project, yes. So is the private
Yes.
sector and the government sector, but need to be a partnership where need to be a tight control in place as well. So private sector organization, those work in the best interest of the public.
Sure.
So center involvement in the tourism in development is an entrepreneurial role, provide specialized technical skills. We need to be look around what sort of the skills which we'll go through following lessons more in detail. Provide the
Okay.
large proportion of the capital funds. So
Yes.
large private sector provide a lot of funds. The money coming from, because maybe the government sector don't have enough funds. So private sector still is important, and the innovations come as well, like a lot of private sector, their efficiency is more better than the government sector,
Yes.
different projects. Of course we can criticize, some private company, they're more focused on their interest instead of the welfare of the public. But ultimately, they, of course, they're looking what the pounds spend, what they get out of it as an investor point of view. So role of the government act as a catalyst because they can monitor to complement effect of the private sector, including non-profit organization should not do
Okay.
what the private sector is willing to do. So the government sector, public sector organization, they are not purpose to be on the profit. Their purpose to be to provide the services.
Yeah.
But
To provide
sometimes
good service.
sometimes the service standard not up to that level when the private sector have a competition. So service standards could be improved. Okay, then conflict between public and private sector arise due to the following reason. There could be a different sort of conflict. So in a totality point of view, we need to be managed. Private sector is not willing to finance development of the project because it's a limited profit potential. The government,
Yeah.
however, has given the project high priority due to the regional economic contribution,
Yeah.
like no fast train service between London and Leeds. Yes,
Yeah.
SH3 and further. So these are it's a lot of the project. It need private partnership to complete the project. So that will
Yeah.
be huge impact on the travel and tourism industries within the UK. So we need to look around existing tourism facilities. Bankrupt
Okay.
cannot be sold on the market. So we need to look around how the banks can be funded. The government stand to provide lower costs. Yes. So lower
Yeah.
cost locations opportunity for disadvantaged groups such as the poor or the sick or the age. So we need to be look
Mhm.
around. Yes, different age group like pensioner can travel a bit with the our free entry. Those are tough.
Yeah.
So that's a public sector organization. They are including those are they can't afford it. Those travel and are involved in or visit the key location. So that's a public sector organization need to, but the private sector they're not a bother about. They more in term of the return. But in the UK is totally different compared to the rest of the world. Like the first bus or various other coach service, they are offering free tickets to the pensioner or disabled people. Different
Yeah.
package, than the best. But in other countries, not when is a public sector, then we can offer these sort of facilities, but in a private sector of course not.
Yeah.
So government want to encourage the private sector development, initiating the new types of development through the demonstration or the pilot project, different sort of the project.
Mhm.
Characteristic of individual tourism development project, there are the number of project we can discuss as a business management perspective. So individual tourism project are generate either through the tourism planning process or
Yeah.
by the private sector. Potential tourism, we have a lot of projects especially in UK in the various locations.
Yeah.
Some include the project that's involving building construction, superstructures, or other required human resource and equipment. Nine criteria when we identify the desired project, when we looking in the partnership as well at the public or the private sector. Economic contribution.
Mhm.
So what
Yeah.
economically this new project or think about HS2 or 3, what which will we contribute economically? If they not contribute economically, then of
Yeah.
course that will be huge. Second, we need to, sorry, okay. Second, we need to look around the environmental impact.
Okay. Yeah.
So HS2, HS3, what environmental impact will be? Fast train service reduce the congestion. It is
Yeah.
reduce the pollution levels. People can move around. Less, the burden will be just on the London. People can move around just for the
Yeah.
travel purposes and the job purposes, and create more opportunity. Social and
Mhm.
cultural impact. Yes, social impact
Yeah.
could be, and cultural impact on the society. Maybe couple of the stakeholder will suffer with it, like a newly built house near Doncaster need to be demolished when the new track will build. So
Yeah.
we need to look around those as well. That's society competitive impact as as a UK travel and tourism industry become more competitive impact, because the public sector and compared to the people will prefer to be travel more. So that
Yeah.
will be huge, impact. And the public sector is play a significant role, like recently government remove some movement restrictions. Few countries in Middle East like Dubai nationals and Qatar national people, they don't need a visa, they can come and visit, as a visit purposes. They only need to buy
Yeah.
a ticket. So a lot of people traveling our weekend and spending weekend here and going back. So ultimately, travel and tourism industry is growing by taking our the government involvement as a public organizations. These policies and
Mhm.
procedures would boost, further economic activity within a travel and tourism industry. So tourism impact on a huge impact as a economics within or create more job opportunities, like a lot of
Mhm.
new hotels is carry on building and ultimately creating more opportunity. So developer and the operator capabilities, so we need to look around
Mhm.
when we are making new project. Developer who is going to develop it, if is a trillion is going to be liquidate, who else will be a
Mhm.
bigger company to develop and operate, those they have a capabilities to take the big projects.
Mhm.
So all nine criteria we need to be look around first, before starting any project, like a business management point of view. So
Okay.
what impact will be? Okay, compliance with the policies, plan and program. So
Yeah.
compliance procedures we need to look around within when we and the public sector organization, they make these policies and procedures. The other like standard operating procedures to set those everyone compliant, like if they uh, like as a tour operator they must need to be published the information. It's a 5 star, 2 star, 3 star. They have to refund, if they cancel the flight they have to refund the money. Yes,
Okay.
like a Ryanair delay flights and these sort of. So government
Mhm.
or IATA can cancel their license. So these sort of issues be managed by the public sector organization.
Okay.
Equity contribution. It could be some
Mhm.
project equity contribution. It could be a government contribution. Maybe 60% is contributing private sector, 40% government sector, or 50-50 private partnership. Feasibility. Yes,
Yeah.
feasibility we can make it before when we launch any project. Okay, 7 step. This we need to look around: pre-feasibility study, site analysis, market analysis, economic feasibility analysis, cost benefit analysis, government financial incentive. We need to look around in tourism development, private sector, financing for
Okay.
tourism development. Who is going to be? So all these we need to look around before actually we launch the project. So
Okay.
pre-facility justification of the detailed economic feasibility study, return on investment, how much will invest, how long will take us to cover our initial investment. So that's sort of the study we need before. And the public and private sector, both organization can do these. Site analysis, yes, which site we are going to be developing, what will be in which geographical area. uh, Tourism project site criteria are divided into the further market related site criteria. We need to look around physical characteristic of the site, what impact will be, market analysis, what will be happen in the market, time consuming element as a whole study, lot of the cost and the time required directly depend on the combination. So we can use primary and secondary research. What is the difference between primary and secondary research?
Um, I'm not too sure.
Primary research is a first-hand information, We can ask questionnaire, we can do online, we can use observation methods. So that's it called the primary research, the data we are collecting first hand, no one is
Yeah.
used in the past. Secondary research, the research is mean already information is published by the various organizations like Office of National Statistic, the local areas,
Yeah.
how much population, what sort of the segment of the population living here, yes, how much per capita
Yeah.
income in those areas, or per
Yeah.
person, or the education level, all these secondary information normally is published by the Office of National Statistic, ONS. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
we can use it. Okay. So for marketing research, we can use question and method, personal interview, telephone, mails, focus group, Delphic method, which we can question method, other focus. Normally is like a 360-degree. We can ask from the all stakeholders.
Yeah.
That's called Delphi technique as well. So where we not excluding, so we'll get all set of things. Different forecasting technique, we can use it to forecast for the future, like the
Okay.
relationship correlation. If I'll change, if we'll spend more money, if more jobs, of course the relationship between these are, and we can do different sort of the test. Any question?
No question.
Economic feasibility, like as mentioned before, earning per share, every pound we'll spend, what we'll get, these studies we can do as well. Cost benefit
Yeah.
analysis, how much will be investment, how much return we'll get, what will be local impact, conjunctions, like, the nowadays, motorways quite busy and congestion level is quite high, and what will be happen, so as a society, maybe one way we are gaining, other way is the pollution level, CO2 level. So we need to look around the cost benefit in terms of the health and various others. So role of the government, financial incentive in the tourism in stimulator. Yes, they can
Okay.
stimulate, and
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, they have to work together to be. So fiscal incentive to could be tax holidays.
Yeah.
Yes, remissions of the tariff, tax reduction. Might be few areas tax-free zones where
Yeah.
no tax, few areas. So maybe the 5 years we not charge you any sort of the tax, any business you do in these areas, because to promote, these local areas, like in Liverpool, few houses, council state, those were empty for many years. The government or the local council sold the houses, £1 a house.
Yeah.
So that could be, the promote such sort of schemes. Ultimately as a public organization they can.
Okay.
Direct indirect incentive, non-refundable grants,
Yeah.
low interest rate loans could be, interest rebates, forgivable loan guarantees, working capital loan, which is mean, the running capital in a business. That could be equity participation, government training grant, like, apprenticeship programs and various other to skill boost,
Yeah.
infrastructure assistance, lease back, land
Yeah.
donation. Yes, free land we will donate you if you start. So private sector financing for tourism industry, generally it
Yeah.
supplies the majority of the financing project. Private sector range from the individual citizen of the major institutional lenders. Different sort of the companies could be involved, like a Tesco and various other. They have a lot of money in investing in different travel and tourism projects. Proof of the economic feasibility. These are just a generic discussion which normally we need to do before, when we launch any project. And of course, public and private sector both can play a significant role.
Sure.
Any question?
No questions.
So today we just discuss very basic. Our discussion was, during our next lesson
Yeah.
we'll go through more, uh, because I picked this first unit, and the next lesson I'll recap on LO1, We'll go through
Yeah.
LO2, role of
Okay.
private sector in more in detail, and because
Yeah.
this unit is quite day to day really. We already discussed, the public limited, private limited companies in under
Sure.
the finance as well. Yes,
Yeah.
partnership, sole trader. So that give us a lot of
Yeah.
information. Already discussed even yes, we already discussed about micro environment, pestle analysis. Yes, even
Yeah.
LO3. So what we'll do during our next lesson, we'll recap half our LO1 again, and LO2 will complete during our next lesson. And then we'll move
Okay.
one lesson, LO3, which is already covered during our other lesson because it's
Sure.
similar, and LO4 is similar too.
Okay. Cool.
So
No problem.
it's quite small unit.
Yeah.
There are a few recommended book if you want. So what I'll do, I'll
Okay.
find electronic copies more on, and I'll send you electronic copies then.
Excellent.
Any questions, Chelsea?
No question. Only just if you could send me some more um resources on the marketing and especially the 9Ps, and then I can start reading them this week if that's okay.
Brilliant. Yes, sir, sure. I'll do by tomorrow.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome. Have a good night.
Have a nice
Speak to you then.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.